Welcome everybody, François JDR D30, and this will be a ramble, a subject that hasn't come up often on my channel. It's world building. I don't do much world building in general, I like to build upon something that is already there. I prefer to put my energy into making a good story, making something interesting about the place. If we take a fantasy setting, one fantasy setting or another, you will have the typical town with the typical inn, and you will have the typical orcs or goblins around. Of course, you can be original, but okay, you know what I mean. And usually, if I want to go in fantasy, I will try to choose some settings that have enough space for me to create upon. I don't want to deal with the basic logic of the place. I just want to build upon something that has already been taught. The town, the name of the places are there. The government, the politics is already a little there. You have an ID, so it's easy for me to build upon. So I would prefer, some of my favorite settings. Titan in Advanced Fighting Fantasy has that kind of freedom in it. The Young Kingdoms from Stormbringer has that kind of freedom, in my opinion. If I take more dense worlds like Aventuria in the Dark Eye, or let's say even Middle Earth, okay, it's too much for me. Okay. When I did some world building in the past, it was maybe for a one-shot, something with no consequence, that the main concern about what was going on was the adventure itself, not the world that much. It was just a way to put some flavor in it. That's it. Okay, and so no need to be logic about it. The most world building I ever did, and that was kind of written somewhere, appear in RPGS. Okay, the RPGS source book, the fantasy toolkit that I'm talking to you about once in a while. You can see the 3-page in there. Well, everyone can read it. That is the most that I can offer, and it's a compilation, an anthology of different things I did in the past, and I just put that to the same spot when I did RPGS. Just an anthology of the cool ideas that I was bringing. That's it. But in the library with my 9 through 14-year-old group, I decided to go with world building, but not from create the whole thing from the start. By the end of 2015, we were playing back then Advanced Fighting Fantasy and Titan, but I wanted to go with a more simpler game. I felt that Advanced Fighting Fantasy was a little maybe difficult for some players, so I did go with a lighter game and decided to make an experiment about world building. Okay, the first group that came with that concept, I said to them, okay, let's create a world. Okay, they describe what is on that world. So we had ice and a desert. We had some kind of a polar ice and a desert beside. Okay, it's all sorts of silly stuff, but I was just letting them, okay, maybe having an opinion from myself on some things, but most of it I was just letting them go, just letting them go silly and experiment. I remember back then taking all the notes and trying to make sense out of it and create a map. I took the application called Exographer, and I've made a map, a part of a world, not the whole continent. And I remember when I brought the map at the first game, the real game we did, I put the map on the table, and that is where we are. I remember the reaction of the kids. They were fully excited about this, and okay, so suddenly it became more real for them. They saw the names that they created themselves. That was on a map, a well-made map, and they were very excited about that. I remember that. That was world building with the players, with no details about everything. Okay, the details were played. Okay, and since that time, since the end of 2015, which we are still playing into that world called Magicus. I do mention it once in a while in RPG A Day These Times Around, when I talk about role-playing game Bob le Rôliste or Tranchons et Tracons, the French role-playing games. And I've been building upon the world with them. I'm not a world builder. It's not my favorite part of role-playing game, but you know, I do enjoy this one since I have to do it. But I do enjoy this one, and you know, after a couple of sessions, when a season was finished, you know, we work with 3 seasons in the library. So at the end of each season, I was taking the notes that I was taking during the game, because lots of stuff were created on the spot, and I took note, you know. And by the end, I was just adding the notes to a genre Google document that I began without really reading what was before. Well, in the first few years, I didn't have to read that much since it was fresh in my memory. But you know, after 4 years now, it begins to, you know, I realized that I began to forget some of the stuff. Okay, yesterday I did an update of the summer we did, putting back the notes, and I decided to take a closer look at the document itself, and realized to my great joy that there was lots of coincidence into what was there. Some stuff that was played 4 years ago fits like a glove to new stuff that had basically no relation to it, but I can make a relation, you know, a natural relation or made between lots of elements into what we created, and into lots of elements coming from other sources. To start with, the game Tranchons et Tracons doesn't provide a world, but it does provide some lore if you want, and I do take kind of the, let's say, the religion pantheon that they suggest. It's not really a pantheon, it's kind of an astrological sign, but that they decided that it was at the same time as some sort of a pantheon. They suggest that, and I said, yeah, why not? It's quite generic and flavorful, okay? So, and you know, and many of the elements, I never realized that this pantheon was fitting stuff that was made even when we were not playing Tranchons et Tracons with the other game we were playing, and it fits like natural. And also, you know, I use a lot of the one-page dungeon contest. Okay, I have all of the one-page dungeon contest in a document on Google Drive, and I do use those one-page dungeon. They're very handy to have a place, you know, already made within a little story. And how many of those one-page dungeons fit the world so well? Stuff that were created on the spot in 2 years before. It's like if it was part of that one-page dungeon, okay? And you know, so I decided to make some work into, you know, putting stuff together, making it and make an update of the chronology of the world, and filling some of the blanks with some of those coincidences that just explain some of the stuff that were named, never explained, but suddenly it just made sense that it was there. The world is becoming real as it is, and we just played it. You know, I never had to sit down and create something from scratch. Yeah, the only time I did something like that is maybe when I was preparing an adventure. I could, you know, sit down and think about something for the adventure, but usually I do build upon, you know, I do take my inspiration with what is there. But I think I will take a closer look at the document that we did, because there's not a lot of valuable information. As for the map, since the start of 2019, I decided that we had to explore something outside of the map that we had. In the south, there was a region, and it felt interesting to go there. I did introduce by improvising elements from the south, and I said, oh, I had a feeling that it was to be interesting to go there. So I decided to make another map, small map of the region in the south, and we did play into that, and it was fun. You know, it changed the dynamic, it changed from the usual problems that we were used to in the north. And I decided, you know, to doodle something. I've printed the map that we had. I did it in small on the page, and with a pen, I just decided to draw a contour of the rest without making details, just to make the shape of the continent. And suddenly it made sense. Okay, it felt so real at that point. Oh, I was amazed, and I was proud of that. Oh, it looks cool, though. And yeah, so it's taking its form. Something I realized doing this experiment is how much of, you know, the bad guys, the players are caring for them, and caring, well, or hating them, but you know. And it's funny because I introduced a big bad guy on the first adventure ever of Magicus, and it's funny because that bad guy, you know, they defeated him last fall in 2018 by the last session. But it was there, and it's funny because in the library, the players that were there on the first time we played that, they were not there. You know, the time has got by, and you know, the players have changed. But from one group to another, that bad guy was haunting them, because every time new players were coming around, well, the players that were there, if that bad guy was involved, the players who used to know him, you know, were hating him, and they were spreading their hate to the new ones, and the new ones, a couple of sessions later, you know, were not used anymore, but to the newest players that were coming in the future, they would spread their hate. So that character got a whole story by itself, and got lots of hate by different people, and by the end it was defeated with rage by people who even didn't knew him to start with. So it's because he's part of that world, a world that they created, that the players helped me create, and you know, they kind of care about their hate about this guy. You know, I would bring them into Forgotten Realms. I have made the same example in French. But, okay, bring them to Forgotten Realms. Okay, so you are heroes. Okay, and then come Elminster. Okay, you know, if they haven't read the novels, they don't care about Elminster. And you know what? As a game master, I don't care about Elminster. But it's Elminster. They won't react. But if I take the bad guy, that was called Johan, by the way. I take Johan. I said, oh, there's Johan. Oh, yeah. The reaction will be real. The excitement will be there, because they care about hating Johan. Because, in a sense, they created him. All together. On a 3-year span. Yeah, that is world building for this morning. I wanted to share my joy and the discovery of the coincidence that just came out from something while playing it. Yeah, also to tell JDR D30, and up to next time, I hope you have as much fun in your life as in your games. Goodbye.